Hello everybody, we are live from Bristol. I'm Kate from Crate Insider, and I am standing here with Andrew Garris from ProFabrication, headers and exhaust. Obviously it's really bright, so I am going to put my sunglasses on and be kind of rude here, but tell us, well, let's just go ahead and take a look at your display, Andy, and tell us about what we're looking at.
Yeah, for sure. I guess we'll start on this side. Obviously we have our display cart with our flanges and stuff like that on it. Back over that way. We have a 604 here with our inboard XR1 headers. That does have our anti-reversion mufflers on it. Like I said, these are stainless, and they're also, you know, obviously TIG welded, slip-on collectors, all the new stuff.
Well, tell us a little bit. Let's come on over here and let's take a look at these. But these, and I'm just going to point to the slip-on collectors. This is fun when you're in your own camera person here. So there we go.
Go ahead.
So tell us a little bit about this whole slip-on collector situation, or what's going on here. When we say slip-on collector, what are we looking at, and how does it work?
Yeah. So basically, what was happening is we were having issues with when everything wants to get hot and it's bouncing on the racetrack, flexing. We were having issues with. First, it would start cracking here. And then, obviously, in return, since that started cracking, it would start cracking at the flange, stuff like that. And that's not who we are. That's not what we set out to build. And with the rules of crate racing, you can't run a merge collector. So we came out with this slip-on collector. I don't know. It was back at PRI, like 2 years ago, the last time we had PRI. And the collector actually doesn't have a spike in it at all. The tabs are completely flat. And it also doesn't have a choke. So therefore it's not a merge collector. But it also allows us to get the slip-on effect so everything can flex around and move around without breaking. You want to leave the bolts a little bit loose and everything can flex, and that pretty much saved everything. Also, if you get hit in the door, you can replace just this collector instead of having to replace a whole header side, or just different chassis. Like you have different angles out here to go around different bars on different cars. That way you don't have to buy a whole new set of headers if you get a new car.
That's really convenient. We've certainly run into that for sure with guys getting new cars. I mean, these headers aren't just an expense; they're an investment.
Correct.
And it's nice to know that if you just need to, because really it's not a big adjustment.
Right.
We're using pretty much the same left and right sides other than the inboards.
Yep.
And it's just maybe if you're going from a Masters built to a CVR, you're going to have a slight different angle, so we're just going to change out, the collector at that point?
Yeah, so basically the three different ones we have, obviously you have our standard, what I call standard. I call it our Longhorn Rocket. It'll fit, a Capital or Kryptonite or anything like that. Then we also have our CVR collector, which is angled down 8 degrees, or angled up 8 degrees in the back, for the engine angle that CVR has their motors in their cars. So therefore the muffler doesn't run downhill, it runs parallel with the frame rail instead of below the frame rail. And then also we have a left side collector that fits the Very Right and Snow Brothers is the other one that one really fits. And basically all it does is it's angled out 6 degrees, and so that brings out the muffler about an inch to inch and a half, and it allows to go around a door bar that Barry and Snow Brothers, both of them have that there, so the header can go out. But other than that, everything else is the same.
Now I'm going to go ahead and ask you a couple questions that are just, some really common questions that I hear. I do know the answers, but I'm just going to get it straight from you. So if you're someone who wants to use a turn down, where do you put your turn down in relationship to the collector and the anti-reversion muffler?
Right.
Where are you going to put a turn down?
So the turn down goes on the end of the anti-reversion muffler. On our stainless headers, on the 604s, I do use the 3.5 inch outlet anti-reversion muffler. So I have a 3.5 inch turn down that actually slips over it and band clamps on. So it makes it easy. You don't have to weld anything. There's no extra tabs. You can turn it how you want it. And going back to the turnout situation is I do have on my inboard header, I do include it for the right side. Main reason is there was a fire bottle or something in there that Rocket puts at the end of the header. I can't have exhaust blowing on that from a header standpoint.
Yeah.
So I do include it on the right side of the inboard header, but that is it. It's about mixed, realistically, if you should run a turn down or not. Let's all remember, we're not running 100 lap races with crates most of the time. And we also don't have 900 horsepower worth of exhaust coming out your header. You're probably not going to melt a tire with a crate car on your 20 lap feature at Cherokee. You know what I mean? So it's kind of been mixed. I know some guys just want them, which is fine. That's why we offer them. You can buy them at Crate Insider or from us, either They're $45 a piece, so that's with the band clamp and all. So they're not really a huge expense, and they are available.
Yeah, and I don't know if you have any turn downs here.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's, he's gonna just grab it really quick since we've got a spot. So that was actually a question I got in email the other day, and asking if the band clamp comes with this, and how does this work? I mean, it's, well, you tell me. I mean, I know, but go ahead.
Right, yeah, so this part is actually slotted, if you want to see. We have a band clamp. It's a nice T-bolt clamp. It's got an aircraft lock nut on it, so you don't have to worry about it coming loose. No nylon. Don't use nylon on exhaust because it'll melt and won't work. You just basically slide this on the anti-reversion muffler, and it gives you a nice little point down. I mean, and like I said, you can rotate it however you want. If you want to look at it, there's actually one on the header right there.
We'll take a look at the end of this run right here. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm.
It's not. You can actually turn it.
There we go. Okay, great.
So yeah, so like this one is. I mean, it's you can turn it. I mean, obviously it's tight, but you can turn it however you want. Like it's loose. Then you just tighten up this band clamp like that, and it won't come off.
Perfect. Now, let's go ahead and we have. Let's talk about all the things that you have here. I'm gonna go out with the camera so we can take a look at your whole display here, and maybe if you could walk. I mean, because I don't have a microphone with with this right here. So let's talk about what's all going on. We've got a couple of engines here. So
yeah, correct. We have 604 here. You know, obviously we're displaying our stainless inboard rocket headers here. I have our LS7 super late model stuff here as well. We also have our Clements, like a Clements 13-degree header here. I have RY45 headers here. So I'm pretty much covered in the super world. Unfortunately, I don't have any crate headers here, so if you do want to buy them, you have to buy them from Kate. She has one set, FYI, so buy them.
Yeah, they'll be gone by like this afternoon,
yeah,
I'm sure.
If anybody just saw that video and they're at Bristol, you just bought them.
Well, and I do have, by the way, if you have a rocket and you want to go with the inside the frame rail on the right-hand side, I do have a set of those at the shop, so you can order them online and we can ship them.
Correct, yeah, and that's the only set in existence right now.
It really is.
Yeah, we're trying our best, but we've been busy.
Yeah.
So I also have some other, I actually have our collector here.
Oh, okay, let's take a look at that.
Yeah, so this was the hot ticket at PRI, well, like 2 years ago, when we released our new slip-on collectors that kind of saved our crate business, I guess you would say, because I wasn't happy with longevity. And the fact of the matter is, guys, these things aren't bulletproof. I know I have people all the time, you know, is there a warranty? I take care of people that have issues within a reasonable amount of time, but the fact is they are race cars. And these things get glowing red, and you're on a dirt track, you're hitting stuff, you're banging doors, you're winning laps on first race, or winning races on the first lap.
Yep.
You got doored by 10 people. Like, I can't control that, right? Yeah. I do the best I can. So, you know, if it's a few races old, then yeah, obviously I take care of people. But realistically, if it's several years old, man, like I you know, they're race car parts.
Well, but you know, here's the thing though. We've gone from a really solid, like everything from the flange all the way to the end, other than adding the muffler. Everything was all one solid thing.
Correct.
And now we've moved into having these interchangeable parts.
Right.
So if just a section of your header gets smashed, you have some things. So let's talk about your collector.
Correct. Yeah, so this was the slip-on collector that actually fixed it. If you want to see inside of there, actually, so basically you see how there's a flat spot in there. I mean, those tabs are actually formed over and welded solid. That way it doesn't have the spike like a normal merge collector. This is straight 3-inch outlet. There's no choke, you know, and coming back up or transition or anything. And like I said, it allows it to slip, and that way everything can flex on the car with heat. Because the fact of the matter is, all these chassis flex, you know, just from the weight of the headers. You know, we're putting big mufflers on the end of them, and yeah, we want them supported, but we don't have, you know, that's the best thing we can do as far as getting everything supported, because everything does flex. So this allowed even another flex joint in there.
Well, you know, and you know, you bring up a really good point there too. Something that we struggled with in the very beginning was yeah, we've got all of this weight that's cantilevered off of the side of the engine.
Yeah.
So when it comes to supporting headers, you've really come up with a masterful solution. So let's go take a look at that. I can see it right here on the end of this set of headers right here, and this is of course the This is the anti-reversion muffler that was designed by Hendren, that you are now producing. I'm making sure I'm in frame here.
Think so.
Okay, I am not
Right
in
here.
frame. There we go.
There.
There we go. And now you have this right here, which is the, well, I don't know if I'm getting a good angle on it, but it's got a little hole in it, or hole on. Anyway, I hope I'm getting there. Okay. I don't know. I'm doing the best I can here. So, it's got this tab, or this. What I don't know what you're calling it.
Yeah, we call it a support clamp.
Yeah.
Basically what was happening was when we were running the crossover tabs, and we had ran them on asphalt 8 miles forever and other applications, but they just wouldn't hold up to the dirt. You know, whether it was how rough everything was or how much it moved around, you know, whatever the case was, we were having failures with mufflers actually breaking off. And I didn't really want to weld them to the headers. So we came out with this hole where we slotted it, we band clamped the muffler on. That helped control where it goes. We put a spring across it for backup, basically. And then we came out with this support clamp. And basically what this does is it gives you somewhere to support the header to the tab that most chassis people put on the actual chassis itself. And then it always comes up, what do you put from there to the car?
Good question.
Yeah, and that's always, you know, it's probably the number one question I get. And I feel like, you know, I really wish we had a definite solution that we could just sell to everybody with the headers. This is the full thing, you know, support your header. But the fact is, I can't sell anything cheaper than AutoZone. And AutoZone sells rubber exhaust mounts that are perfect. Or a trampoline spring, or something that allows stuff to flex, but it also gives it support. Do not solid mount them. If you're gonna solid mount them, don't mount them at all. You know what I mean?
Great to know.
Because if you solid mount and the car flexes, something else is gonna flex. It's solid mounted.
Yeah.
And what's gonna happen? You're gonna break your header. If you don't support it at all. We're putting these big heavy mufflers on the end of them, and you're glowing red. Well, over time it pulls it down and it'll distort the tubes at the bends. So this is beaten down like this, so it's pulling down here, and all these are bends. So it's gonna pull the whole header down. It's gonna oval these bends, and then it's gonna end up breaking the header. So make sure you support them, use springs, use rubber, whatever you wanna use, but make sure it all can move around. That's the key to making a header live.
Well, and that's the smart thing, is you are building in the weak point. And
Correct.
then if it's the weak point that you're controlling, then it's one that can be managed a lot better than, like, let's just throw this on here and see what's gonna happen.
Correct. Yeah, and that's another thing too, is I've had guys ask me about the bolts with our bolt-on collector. Should you like tighten them down? No, don't crank them down. Leave them loose. It can't go anywhere. It can't come off, I promise. As long as your bolts are on there, period, don't leave them off. But you want to make them where they can roll. Like, you know, you want them to move around a little bit. And like I said,
Let me show that too.
that allows everything to flex. So like this bolt, that's perfectly fine. You want it to move around a little bit. That way it doesn't have, that way all this stuff can flex. I mean, if you lock that down, that's no different than welding it solid.
That is really interesting to see the movement that we're getting right there.
Correct. And that, imagine if that was welded solid and your race car did that.
Well, it's because the race car's going to do it anyway.
break.
It's
Correct.
going to do it anyway. So you might as well plan for what's going to be inevitable.
Correct.
Really.
Correct. Yes.
Cool.
So,
Cool. What else would you like to tell us, Andy?
I don't know. I mean, what do you want me to tell you?
No, I mean,
Nah,
I've
it's
learned
good.
so much. I've got like 3 tech tips,
Right.
like all built into this video today, and you know, some of it's stuff that's new to me, and will definitely help me to
Right.
communicate with racers when we look at what are some of the advantages of ProFab.
Right. Yeah, and I will say too, I guess another thing we always get is, do you have gaskets? We'll talk about gaskets.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about Steve Hendren's red RTV.
That is a really good topic.
Yeah, so Steve Hendren, I hope, is not watching this video.
He doesn't watch any of my videos
I'm not gonna
unless he's in them.
I'm not going to recommend RTV at all, but I'm going to say it's okay. So how I feel about that, you know, if you want to run gaskets, fine. If you want to run red RTV, fine. I don't have an issue with either. I personally don't have either. It's one of those things that we've been kind of working on and trying to get going, and it falls through, and then we try again and it falls through, and it'll come one day, you know. But if you are going to run gaskets, if you don't want like a cheap paper gasket, basically a one-time use gasket, I do suggest anything MLS. As far as that goes, it's the 3-layer metal gaskets. They're a little more expensive, but they are reusable. Or you can just buy a regular paper gasket. you know, and it'll use it, and when you take it off, you have to buy another one. You know, either way, it's fine.
Well, and let's back up and talk about RTV or any silicone. And yes, we know that, Steve, that's a thing.
Yeah.
But part of it is that he'll see engines come in as a rebuilder that are just so, like, there's RTV on everything, and it's so overdone, and he's got to scrape all that stuff off, and it's just this big mess. But the other thing that's really important, and I had heard this long before this whole, like, this is like a running joke at this point, but even before this, what we've seen is really that kind of a situation, a little is good, a lot is better. If you've ever used wood glue, like think about Gorilla Glue, and you're like, whoa, I want to glue these things together. So you've got like these two pieces of wood or something, and you use what you think is a little bit of glue. You wake up the next morning and that crap is everywhere, right?
Correct.
Well, what can happen when you're using this with any kind of silicones, it's not that they expand like Gorilla Glue, but what they can do, you want just enough to like kiss both pieces of metal so that it can bond. If you have too much, what ends up happening is you block the exhaust ports. And you're like, we're buying these high dollar headers and we're trying to get the best performance, but if we block off part of the port, we're always going to be hurting ourselves.
Yeah.
So really just a thin little layer. Don't glue it everywhere. Just a thin little layer.
Yeah, basically, I mean, when you push the header up, if any does come out the top of the flange, like you want it like where you could barely see a little line of red around it. Any more than that, remember, as much as you have on the top, you have on the inside. So if you have an inch falling out the top, you got an inch falling in the inside, and the port's not even that big. So, and another thing I always tell people, and all the jokes between me and Steve literally have people scared of RTV. It's kind of funny. But on the flip side, if you do use RTV, clean it up before you take it to the engine builder. Don't take your engine back to Hendren or whoever your engine builder is covered in RTV. Because the fact of the matter is, I think they should charge you extra because now they have more work to do to clean up your crap. So, A, wash your motor, B, clean up the RTV, and we don't have any issues.
There's our PSA for the day.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's two things. I mean, and I think Steve would respect my RTV, and he sells it, so you can get a hold of him if you want to buy RTV. Just a little plug for Hendren. No, he doesn't sell it.
No, he does not.
Yeah, and he's going to get me back for this, but that's the biggest thing.
No, but that was good information because the truth is we don't have you and I, neither one of us have a perfect solution for attaching the headers to the engine, whether it's gaskets or sealants or anything else. Neither one of us have a perfect solution.
Correct.
So what do we do? What can we suggest? And that's where we're going to go with that.
Yeah, I think that's probably our best, the best option. I mean, if you want, like I said, and all our flanges are perfectly flat sanded on the backside, so I don't have any welds hanging out or nothing's uneven or anything. So either solution is going to steal the header.
Yeah.
I will say the thing about the MLS stuff and the RTV is as long as you use it properly, they probably won't blow out and you won't have any issues. Paper gaskets do blow out, but they are a lot cheaper, and you can change them out, and it depends on how much you change your headers. It might not matter anyways.
Right.
If you're wadding up race cars every week, then you probably just use paper gasket. I think you'll be fine.
That'll work. I think we're good. And we've had lots of people here today, and I'm sure we could probably look and see the questions. We'll probably look afterwards. If you have any questions for Andy or any questions for me, feel free to drop them in the comments, and we'll, between the two of us, we'll be taking a look and try to answer those. So
I think maybe we should talk about these.
Yeah, let's.
I think we're gonna officially release them soon, maybe.
Are you?
Yeah, but I think we could talk about them. Some people have them, they're racing them.
Okay, let's.
Yeah, I think we could. This is kind of new to us, right? I mean,
yes.
I don't know.
I guess I should tell a story here. So, when we needed some headers. I mean, I have a couple of great, wonderful header manufacturers, but we started working with ProFab, and we talked about mild steel headers, but they're really specialized in the stainless, and we brought stainless. We had stainless headers. They weren't as popular back when we first started going down this header journey, and you haven't always been known for mild steel.
Right.
But here we are, and having known the market and seeing how things are going, tell us what's next. That's the next chapter here.
Yeah, right. So, we've had a few series say they want people to run steel in the 602 late models. That's where we're going to start. We've had some that say they have header claim rules, which I don't really think anybody's ever going to claim anybody's headers because you're probably going to end up with a black eye at the end of the night, but it's all good. So we kind of wanted something that was fair. But at the same time, I wanted to try to keep as much of the quality and performance as we could, but yet make a more of an economy header, or your Saturday night guys.
Bring the price down.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which is still more than normal mile steel headers. Like, I'll go ahead and throw that out there. It's still not a $300 header. I still don't MIG weld everything. I still have slip-on collectors. It's still the tube links are the same as our stainless, so the fabrication time really didn't change a ton. We did some things to cut corners, kind of thing, to help, but other than that, like, it basically is the same product, just at a different finish, or a different quality level, or however you want to say it.
Different material.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this is our first batch. I'll say we ran a we did a pre-sale for 10 sets. They sold out within a day. We did them for a price we thought that's where we could be at and make money, kind of thing. And we said, hey, if this works, then we'll continue down this road. If not, we tried.
Yeah.
And well, after it was all said and done, we are going to do it again. They're going to be $10.99 for headers, mufflers, and everything. So that's basically $900 for the headers, and then $100 a piece for mufflers, which I think is very fair and offered a quality product at a reasonable price. I will say, going over these are 602 late model headers. We did use a laser cut flange. It still kind of looks like our flange, but we did use a laser cut flange. I MIG welded at the port instead of TIG welded, which sped it up a lot. I think it's going to be just as good of a product at the flange, as far as I don't think we're going to have any issues or anything. But we did MIG weld at the port. All the tubes are still TIG welded, still look nice, clean. I didn't want a big gaudy weld on a tube. And then our collector, we used our same slip-on collector. And then we MIG welded the 4-into-1. We MIG welded the 4-into-1, but yet TIG welded around the corners. So still has slip-on collectors. The mufflers are still has the support clamps. Basically the same design idea.
Yeah.
But it's basically $1,100, $10.99, and that's headers, mufflers, support clamps, everything. So about $800 difference in price. And the next question is going to be, do you make them 604? No, not right now. I don't know if that's going to come. I don't want to make my own competition. No. But for 602s, this is definitely an option.
Great. Is there anything else we should know about these? Well, we did go with the mild steel mufflers on these as well.
Yeah,
these have been a classic.
Yeah, correct.
So I think anything else that our audience needs to know today?
I don't think so. I think the next question is going to be lead time. I am going to open it up for pre-order probably when I get back from Bristol. But go ahead and expect, like, getting material right now is not easy.
Yeah.
I would say everybody, thank you for being patient with us. But I would expect probably going to be the end of April before, and that's the best case scenario.
And I'll obviously have some at Crate Insider as well. As soon as they're available, I'll have some as well.
Absolutely. So definitely you'll check that out. And like I said, as soon as we open up pre-orders, you're able to order them through anybody. I don't care who you order them from. So and we'll get that going and see how it goes.
Awesome. Thanks. It's always fun. Of course, we're right next to each other, by the way, at the event. And if you're at Bristol, stop by and see us. And thanks for taking the time with me today.
Yeah,
this
no problem.
Great information.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, and you guys drop in your questions, and we'll both follow back up with the comments and answer anything we can do for you guys. Have a great day.